Hi, Sharon Durbin Graves, Painting with Acrylics 101.com. How are you today? I am an artist and a teacher, and I just want to talk to you for a minute about art as therapy. I'm not an art therapist. I know there's all sorts of programs you can take to become an art therapist and everything, and I'm not that. This is something that I have noticed from my own self and from the classes I teach. I teach a lot of beginners in group classes where we come together and we're all going to paint the same thing. And here are some of the things, I'm going to tell you some of the things that I have learned from them. I paint because I need to. I need to create. I have received great satisfaction from that, and it's a release for me. Now, I started out as a child making all sorts of crafty things. And I started sewing my own clothes when I was 8. And I didn't start painting, seriously painting, until I was in my late 40s. And I was quite ill at the time. But it lights me up. Nothing I have ever done creatively has lit me up like painting. And it is the best therapy. So for however long I'm working, however long I'm painting, I'm not thinking about, well, I've got this bill to pay, and I've got a leak in the kitchen, and my car is having a problem. My grandson is really struggling. I'm not thinking about any of those things. I'm thinking about, where's the next stroke go? Where's the next thing go? What does this painting need? Ooh, is it like off? Where's it off? It looks, I'm backing up and it looks off. So that's what I'm thinking about. And I noticed that in my classes, all of my students will almost to a T say, I'm not thinking about anything else. I'm just thinking about this. And so for an hour or two, you have that release to where you're not consumed with everything going on around you. You're thinking about, where does the next stroke go? And that is so freeing that I love it. I love it. Creating is not restricted by age. You're never too young or too old to create art. I know we've all seen that 2-year-old sitting at a table with a box of crayons and some sketch pads, paper, and just going to town. Boy, they got squiggles, they got straight lines, they got every color, they got crayons out everywhere, they're circling, they're making everything under the sun, and they are so proud of their work. What happens to that? Where does that go? Well, I have a theory, and I think what happens is life. We get beat up. We try something, we've worked really hard, we think we've done something really good, regardless of what it is. And somebody comes along and squashes us and says, well, that's stupid. Well, that's the dumbest thing I ever saw. Well, why would you think that? No, that's not how I wanted it done. And so we let those things build up and build up and build up. It's hard. It's really hard to let that go, but you're still never too old to learn to paint. I used to own a very small gallery in a very small town in Kentucky. Of course, they're almost all small. There's only a couple of big towns in Kentucky. But my gallery was only like 9 feet wide. It was 50 feet long. So I'm in there working one day, and I see an older lady walking across in front of the window. And then a few minutes later, I see her walking back. And a few minutes later, there she goes again. And here she comes back. And she must have walked in front of my gallery 5 or 6 times. And I'm thinking, oh, I wonder if she's lost. Maybe I need to go help. So she went by one more time, and I thought, yep, I'm going out. I'm going to ask her if everything's okay. And I did. I went to the door and I said, is there anything I can help you with? Or are you okay? And she's like, well, I wasn't really sure what was in here, and I see all these paintings, and well, I've always wanted to learn to paint, but I'm old, and I don't think I can. And I'm like, well, why don't you come on in and we'll talk about it. And so she came in. The front half of my gallery was the artists that were in there. There were paintings, there was jewelry, there was fiber art, there was some really great stuff. And the back half was a classroom. So we went back, and I had table and chairs back there, and we sat down, and I showed her all the different paintings that we had. That, okay, so on Tuesday we're going to paint this, and this is how much it is, and I supply everything you need, and you come in, and you and a group of other people, you know, you're going to paint this. I'm going to teach you step by step how to do it. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I could do it. I don't know if I could learn. And I'm like, of course you can learn. It's a skill. I don't have any talent. No, you don't have to worry about talent. It's a skill, and you can learn a skill. Well, I can't even draw a stick figure. And I said, and you're in luck, because we're not drawing stick figures. We're doing this. And so I explained to her that I had a grandson who came into the studio with me one day, and he was looking at the paintings of the children that I taught were going to be doing. And I said, would you like to paint that cupcake over there? And he looks at me, puts his hands on his hips. And, I don't want to paint that stupid cupcake. I want to paint that rooster. I'm like, okay, well, the rooster's over there with the adult paintings, but we're gonna, sure, let's paint a rooster. So we got everything out, and by George, I worked with him just like I would have worked with a group of adults. I never touched his brush or his paper. I taught him exactly how to do it, and there was his rooster. After less than an hour, he had it on there. And so I showed it to her. I kept it hanging in my gallery back where my desk area was. And I said, okay, so a 4-year-old did this. You think you can do that? She's like, oh my gosh, a 4-year-old? I said, yeah, a 4-year-old. And I never touched the brush. This was his work following step-by-step instructions. And I said, so if you can listen and follow instructions, you can do it. So she signed up for a class. And she came, and she brought a daughter or a niece or somebody with her, and they painted. They had a wonderful time. They had a ball. And then she came back, and she came back. And I forget how many classes she took, but you could just see how it lightened her up, and how even, and I later found out she was 78, and how at 78, her self-esteem just kept raising and growing and growing and growing, and how much better she felt just by being able to put some paint on a canvas and move it around a little bit. I heard today, listening on a podcast, about learning new things, and how learning new things can ward off Alzheimer's. Well, I have Alzheimer's in my genetics, so I'm all for that. So I'm going to go read a book right now. But when you have art, and you do art, you create art, use colors that you love. If you love browns and blue, use brown. If you love pinks and purples, make sure you've got that in everything you do. I have a color that I love that's kind of tealy, aqua-y, which I love to paint jars, you know, like mason jars. And so I could make them clear, but I love to make them that color because that's my color. So I paint those colors that I love. I paint the subjects that I love. I schedule time to create, and I do that over and over and over again. So if you would like to maybe raise your self-esteem, forget about your problems for a while, or it's on your bucket list to learn to paint, that's exactly what you should do. You should schedule it, put it on your calendar. From 2 to 4 on Thursday afternoon, I'm painting. I'm a morning person, so I really have to do it in the morning. From 10 to noon, I'm painting. Don't come in my space. I'm painting. And I have that chance to be creative, to see things and feel things and enjoy things and forget about things. And that is just the best therapy there is. So I hope to paint with you sometime in the future. My website is www.paintingwithacrylics101.com, created especially and only for beginners. Plenty of stuff out there for medium painters and things, but beginners, you're my jam. So hop on there. There's a blog on there with, I don't know, 30 posts, 35 posts, maybe getting close to 40 posts now, about all for beginning painters, all different types of things for beginning painters. And it's all free. Just go on there. So at any rate, thank you so much for being here. I have enjoyed this immensely. Have a great day. Let's paint together real soon.